Hey, y'all, listen, it's a little early on a Sunday for me, but it's trending topics. It's Sunday. We got stuff to talk about. Listen, I've seen this story. You know, first of all, let me back up. Choose peace. Whenever you have the opportunity, choose peace. Recently, I've always gone to church all my life, always going to church. And recently, I joined a new church. And at this new church, one of their logos up is called A Place of Peace. And I said, you know what? This is the perfect home for me at this point in my life. Why? Because I choose peace. Nothing could ever be that serious. And I will disengage and disconnect in 2.2 seconds if I got to choose peace first. But the reason why I'm saying choose peace is because I've been avoiding this McDonald's story for a while. And the reason why I've been avoiding it is because it's just so tragic and so sad. So tragic and so sad. So you have a McDonald's manager, and let me say this, shout out to all the people in management out there, because it ain't easy. It's not an easy job. You like a psychiatrist, a mother, a father, a therapist, a friend. You're everything. And on top of all of that, you still got to manage. So this manager at McDonald's, working there 14 years, she has 6 children. Well, she had, because unfortunately, may she rest in peace, she's no longer with us. So she had an employee. The employee and her had some situation going on. She sent the employee home a couple times for not doing her job appropriately. The employee decides she's going to come back, and she unalived her, stabbed her multiple times. And I said to myself, like, when you get that mad at a job, first of all, that's a problem in and of itself. And I'm sick of people after the fact. They want to talk about their rough childhood, the bad relationships they had, that they smoked, they drank, they whatever. Employees have some of these jobs, they have employee benefits where you can speak to somebody, a therapist, and sometimes they give you the first few sessions for free. And sorry, but not sorry. I don't want to hear about your difficult childhood and all this other stuff once you commit a crime. Miss me with the BS. Some mother of 6 gone because you had a dispute with her. So do me a favor, go to Chick-fil-A, go work at Walgreens, go work at Target, go work somewhere else. But to come back and to settle your dispute by taking someone's life, this is what I don't understand. Why are now disputes are no longer disputes? Disputes result in somebody losing their life, or maybe both parties losing their life. And it's super sad. And that's my only story tonight. But I will give you an update on the Shannon Sharpe situation. We was guessing, because we don't know the number. We was all taking a wild guess on how much Shannon Sharpe had to come up off of. We know the lowest was going to be 10 million. And we know she wanted 50 million. I'm starting to think he came somewhere very close, because Gabriella, she made her a nice announcement today. I'm going to read it to y'all. Girlfriend said she's done with OnlyFans. And she got a whole lot of ventures out there that she's about to start. She's super excited. She can't wait to tell y'all. See, these men in the street, stupid. Now he's funding all her ventures. But in the meantime, when his daughter was getting married, he told her the budget was $35,000, and he probably gave somebody else $35 million or more. Ain't it crazy? And I have to confirm and see, I think Tony Busby got himself a new private jet. So there go your money, Shannon Sharpe. All the interviews you had on YouTube, Cat Williams, this one, Country Rain, so forth, so on, Kiki, ha, with your cognac and all of that other stuff, is funding other people's lifestyles. So in your 50s, you working hard to fund somebody else's lifestyle. Good luck, Shannon, because I honestly don't believe that ESPN is going to have him back. I do not. And listen, people, here's the thing. Because I'm grown, you already know I'm 55. I don't shy away from my age. It is what it is. I'm thank God that I'm still here. And I'm kicking and I'm aging. So I thank God for that. So every now and then the people come in my chat and they be like, Diva, you need to read better when I read the articles. It's the best, thing y'all got for me. And I told people, pray for me. And hopefully one day I'll come up here and I read the article perfectly. But until then, guess what? Nobody's going to stop trending topics by the Diva. Whether it's two people here, one, or just me talking to myself. Guess what? I'm doing trending topics. That's it. It's a point blank in the period. Here's the thing. And I'm not going to, everybody has the right to their comments. But your comments is not about to stop the Diva. The thing is, a lot of people, we want to criticize. We want to tell people what they shouldn't be doing. Don't do your channel if you can't read the article straight. The thing is, you didn't give me the idea to start this channel, so you won't be the one to tell me when to shut it down. Now, listen, people. It is what it is. Listen, I'm cool, okay? Because ain't nobody stopping. As long as y'all come through, I'm going to be here. I love y'all. And you know what? Here's the thing. I'm going to be very honest with you. I love doing this channel, right? It's not just about me. That's why I don't have to do no clickbait. I don't have to do any of that because you know what? I like being here and I like talking with y'all. Whoever come through and chat with me, that's what we're going to do. The last thing I want to say, I'm going to say it briefly. I'm not going to get into the whole thing. I may be getting into it later. These celebrities are getting out of control. They want to control the narrative. They want to control the narrative. I'll just put a little pin in it right there. They want to control the narrative. When I could tell you more about that situation, I will. But the thing is, no matter who you are, whether you got $1 or you got millions, the light will always shine better than the darkness. And the truth will always eventually come to light. What's his name? What is his darn name? Why am his name slipping my mind right now? His whole life, he was looked upon as one of the greatest. And then towards the end, he's going down in disgrace. When the name popped back up in my head, okay, what was the Cosby Show? Bill Cosby. So y'all can hide your dirt. Y'all can stop the YouTubers from talking about your dirt. But guess what? The dirt's going to come out eventually. And maybe it's going to come out when you're 60. Maybe it's going to come out when you're 70. Maybe it's going to come out when you're 80. But the truth will always come to the light. Listen, people, y'all know what I need in the chat. I need a what? I need a choo-choo. All aboard, everybody. Is Sunday night trending topics, and we got stuff to talk about. The title is called Choose Peace. Choose peace. I don't care what the situation is. I don't care if it's your husband, your boyfriend, your kids, your friend, your co-worker, your boss. Choose peace. It is better you are jobless instead of in the jail. And then potentially spending the rest of your life in jail. You have got to be the biggest fool out there. Let me bring the people on in the building. Hey, Felicia. Hey, Savannah.
Hey, Diva. Hey, Pam.
Hey, Julius. Hey, Callie. Listen, I appreciate y'all coming through and hanging
Hey
out.
y'all, hit the like button.
Hit the
I'm
like button. Thank
watching.
you, Julius. Okay, listen, let me just give you this quick update. Because, honey, Gabby got paid. Gabby got paid. Yes, she did. Hold on one second. She let the people know. Gabriella. She said, today I have decided to retire from OnlyFans. Thank you for the incredible support you've shown me over the past few years. This community has given me a life I could have never imagined. I'll still be active on social media and have several new projects in the works that I can't wait to share. I'm truly excited for this next chapter. I love you all forever and ever. She has hit the lotto. We was trying to take a guess, like what he might have came up off of. We know it was definitely probably double digits. But now I'm thinking she wanted 50. I think he came somewhere close. $30 million or $35 million, Shannon Sharpe. Wouldn't give your daughter more than 30,000 for a wedding, but now you had to give her, and she out here living her best life, about to start new projects, no longer has to work on OnlyFans, and she's still young. She could get therapy, move on from this, and live her best life off of your money. And then allegedly, I believe, I'm going to look for it a little later. What's the name? Tony Busby got a whole new plane. Shannon, you a whole fool. You a old fool and a whole fool. Any quick thoughts on Gabriella quitting the OnlyFans, Felicia?
Hey, good evening and happy Sunday. Listen, at minimum, I don't want that predator Shannon Sharpe to have more than food stamps, and the dogs need to get food from the street. I ain't mad at Gabby. I'm happy she got paid. Okay?
Well, boom, there it is. Happy Sunday, people. Savannah, your thoughts on Gabby? She's done with OnlyFans.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, meet the new cast member of Baddies, because that's where I see her being all up and down Zeus. And congratulations, Gabby. I'm not surprised. And I ain't mad at her. Big dummy. And I'm still looking for Tony Busby's new. He's probably either going to go get plastic surgery or a new G-Wagon. I'm looking at his page too.
Ooh, child. Callie, your thoughts? She's done. No more OnlyFans.
Hey, I mean, she hit the lotto. She don't need to do OnlyFans no more, and I don't think she gonna be on Baddies either, because I don't think she needs to do that either. I think that this is enough money for her to get something going for herself, but she gonna be good for the rest of her life unless she makes some real bad investments. Because if I'm not mistaken, I don't think there's taxes on these settlements. So, hey, and in my mind, I just see Tony Busby wearing a very nice suit, sipping Cristal on a private jet somehow. That's just the image I have of him in my mind, because I think that Tony Busby got a whole list of Shannon Sharpes, and this is going to be until he decides to retire and pass this task along to someone else. He's just going to start going down that list, because there is a certain type of man who doesn't get it. Like, they just don't understand, and they're easy pickings for someone like Tony Busby. So I say, hey, get your money.
Ooh, child. Lawson said, what did James Brown say? The big payback. Julius, your thoughts?
Listen, sis got paid. She got a long lost cousin over here. Yo, cousin, help your cousin out over her. I need a little bit, okay? Listen, I ain't mad she got paid, because Big Shannon was laughing in Monique's face, and Monique was trying to tell him in the nicest way possible on his own show. She was trying to tell him, honey, okay? And he was laughing in her face like, oh, girl, stop. Now you... And look what happened. One thing men hate to give up is the money in their pockets, and she got that.
Ooh, child. Wayne, your thoughts?
Well, that old saying is you got to pay to play. He played, now he paying. She's young. She got a lifetime. She ain't get this money 50, 60. She got a whole lifetime to spend that money. And like Callie said, if she play her cards right, she won't want for nothing. That's it.
Woo, thank you. Mel, your thoughts? She's done with OnlyFans.
And God bless her. You know what? Excuse me, dear. How you doing?
Good.
You know what? I think that for me, what this represents, what happened to Shannon Sharpe is that people like Shannon Sharpe, brothers like Shannon Sharpe. This should be a wake-up call to them. And you know what? Because Alice Walker said through Silly, until you do right by a black woman, then everything you think about is going to fail. You see, people like him go out there, get caught up with all these problems, and then you have to, as Wayne just said, you have to pay for your desires. And I think that for me, that's what I'm seeing with this. You know, it is what it is. But I hope that people like him really take this seriously and reevaluate their desires and their decisions.
Yeah. Woo, well, there we have that. Let's go ahead and get into this deadly dispute. A McDonald's manager that was fatally stabbed by the employee, and it's super sad. She left behind 6 children, and it's just a lot. It's so many moving parts to this. I'm trying to see where I should go first, what I should show you first. I guess I'll show part of the law and crime video because it gives a lot of the background. Let's take a look at this.
Hours before allegedly stabbing her manager to death inside of a Detroit McDonald's, Afeni Muhammad posted that very angry Instagram rant. And now that video is at the center of a murder case that prosecutors say was premeditated and hauntingly foreshadowed. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Okay, just 2 days before she allegedly stabbed her manager to death, Afeni Muhammad posted this furious Instagram video seething about being sent home early for the second day in a row.
I got sent home early yesterday. I got sent home early today by the same person. I'm telling you, she's a bully. This isn't funny. She needs to understand that just because she's a mother and got children doesn't mean that she can come in the store, you know, disrespecting people, talking to them like everybody's beneath her. Gonna have to stop. She's a bully. I'm telling you, she's a bully.
And that was followed by what could be perceived as a foreboding warning.
She could keep being a bully if she wants to, but that is going to catch up to her. Because it ain't funny at all. It ain't.
Now, by Thursday, July 10th, 2025, those words became a horrifying reality because the 26-year-old is now accused of ambushing her manager, 39-year-old Jennifer Harris, at the 9 Mile Road McDonald's in Detroit, stabbing her up to 15 times with a kitchen knife in a brutal attack that prosecutors are saying is a premeditated murder. We're going to start from the top. We're going to take you through how all of this apparent violence unfolded. This was just before 8 a.m. on July 10th. Jennifer Harris, this longtime manager at the East Point McDonald's, sent Afeni Muhammad home early following this heated argument that detectives say was sparked by Muhammad not performing her work duties. Now, Muhammad did go home, but not before reportedly saying to Harris, "I'll be back." And apparently she wasn't lying, because after being dismissed, police say they allege that Muhammad drove to a nearby park, but instead of cooling off, she made a fateful decision. Allegedly retrieving a kitchen knife from her car, Muhammad returned to the quick service chain, but this time prosecutors say she wore a hooded mask over her face to conceal her identity, slipped through the back employee entrance, and what happened next, according to prosecutors, was nothing short of savage. Muhammad allegedly ambushed Harris, stabbing her repeatedly in a frenzied attack. Co-workers scrambled to help Harris, but the damage was too severe. She was rushed to a hospital, and sadly, she later succumbed to her injuries. Such a sad case, such a disturbing case, and this is one that we definitely wanted to shed light on and bring to you. And I will tell you, one of the reasons that we can do this is because of the amazing support that we get from our sponsors like Upside. Now, if you don't know what it is, Upside is great. It is a free app that gets you cash sidebar. Eric, you know, first of all, what is your reaction to this progression of events? I mean, it's not every day that you have an Instagram post that allegedly is foreseeing what is about to happen. Now, we'll talk more about the Instagram post, but this is a savage attack, and the government feels confident they know who did it.
Just a horrific set of circumstances here. And really what the record kind of shows is a buildup, an escalation, things that are getting worse over time. This animosity is growing. Muhammad didn't do herself any favors with that Instagram video, and then later allegedly went into the store and just slaughtered Harris with a knife in the most brutal fashion.
Do you see work-related killings often? I mean, we talk about all the time about relationships and domestic violence, but do you see a lot of work-related violent attacks, homicides often in your line of work?
Jesse, it's not terribly uncommon. The work environment can be a stressful environment. Sometimes you're working with somebody who's not your best buddy. And, over time, those tensions can build and become very problematic. People's livelihoods are on the line. It is, really a high stress environment that can lead to these kinds of events.
So now let's take a closer look at that pivotal piece of evidence in this case, the Instagram video posted to Afeni Muhammad's account just 2 days before the stabbing on July 8th. And in it, Muhammad appears visibly upset, venting about a workplace conflict.
But to get sent home 2 days in a row, man, and I came in on my off day to make up my time, and she still sends me home early, it's not funny.
Now, Muhammad continues directly accusing her supervisor, Harris, of creating a toxic environment and retaliating against her.
She brings a lot of negative energy in there. Nobody's perfect. It's God knows it happens. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes, somebody might get confused. So it gets busy, yeah. But she needs to stop playing like she'll be making mistakes. I be catching her.
Now, the video ends with what might be proven to be chilling foreshadowing of what was to come.
Somebody will have to do something about that. It's not funny. It's not fair. It isn't funny at all. So, she could keep being a bully if she wants to, but that is going to catch up to her. Because it ain't funny at all. It ain't.
Now, Eric, I wonder if the defense is going to say she was angry, she was venting on social media. If she was really planning to kill her manager, why would she post something like this for the world to see? I mean, that doesn't seem too brilliant. Is that a possible defense argument?
Sometimes criminals don't make the smartest choices. This, especially with the emergence of social media and everyone kind of having a quasi-public life now who's on social media, these things come out and people don't really think much of it and don't think how it could impair parts of their life going forward. And so, she's on there venting, but clearly there is some hostility against Harris that is coming through. And those haunting words, those are so ominous looking back at now what happened, where she says she can keep being a bully if she wants to, but that's going to catch up with her. That the prosecution is going to say is premeditation. That's exhibit 1.
One thing we haven't talked about yet, and there's actually a lot we have to talk about, but one thing we haven't talked about yet is that amid the horror of what unfolded, there is an unexpected figure in this story who's being hailed a hero. You see, according to police, a customer who was waiting in the McDonald's drive-thru heard this commotion inside, happened to be legally carrying a firearm. Acting quickly, he fired a warning shot, which caused Muhammad, or allegedly Muhammad, to drop the knife, flee the restaurant. The customer then followed her, held her apparently at gunpoint in the parking lot until police arrived, again, potentially preventing further bloodshed. Eric, if this is all true, my gosh, right? I mean, you have to wonder what could have escalated.
Oh gosh, you have someone who is capable and willing to just go stab their manager up to 15 times with a kitchen knife. What else is she capable of? She was in a escalated state at that point, heightened emotions. Who knows what else she would have done had she gotten away, allegedly. And so, yes, this gentleman intervening, I think, could have really spared future bloodshed potentially.
So then you go to Friday, July 11th, and Muhammad stood before Judge Kathleen Galen, charged with first-degree murder and carrying a dangerous weapon with unlawful intent. And during her arraignment, East Point detective Brian Showers took the stand to read what's known as a swear-to, which is our understanding this is a sworn statement outlining the facts that he believes establish probable cause for Afeni Muhammad's arrest and justify the warrant that was issued against her. And he began by recounting a critical admission or alleged admission that Muhammad made following her arrest.
Prior to the stabbing, Muhammad was sent home by Harris for not performing her work duties and told Harris, "I'll be back." Muhammad was arrested on scene and the knife was recovered. Muhammad admitted that she intended to kill Harris and stated that after she was sent home, she drove to a nearby park, decided to come back and stab Harris with a knife that she had inside of her vehicle. When Muhammad returned to stab Harris, she entered the back entrance with a hooded mask over her face in an attempt to conceal her identity and attempted to flee the scene after the stabbing, but was stopped by an armed customer.
So after Detective Shower's testimony, the arraignment proceeded in typical fashion, with both sides arguing over bond. And Muhammad's defense attorney cited a history of trauma and abuse and asking the court to consider a reasonable bond.
She was in an extremely abusive relationship that was not only mental but physical, that involved alcohol issues, which is where the habitual second stems from, and her prior record. But at this time, Your Honor, we are asking the court to consider a bond in this manner that is appropriate, that my client can meet, so that she can meet with her attorneys and prepare her for defense in this manner.
Well, prosecutors, they quickly pushed back, and they argued that the nature of the crime left no room for mitigation.
She entered a public building with other individuals, other employees that were present. She produced a weapon that was a knife longer than 3 inches, and she stabbed the victim multiple times, up to possibly as many as 15 times, eventually causing her death. She then ran from the building to her vehicle, presumably with the intent to flee from the scene. She was stopped by a helpful bystander.
Eric, how does it work in terms of bond? I mean, is it just looking at the horrific allegations and the nature of the crime, or does a judge consider what are potentially mitigating factors at this point?
So the judge has a lot to consider in deciding what the bond is going to be. The 2 primary factors are whether the defendant presents a danger to society and whether she presents a flight risk that she might leave the jurisdiction and never come back. However, the judge can surely consider the fact that the defendant is presumed innocent and under the Constitution is guaranteed a right to bail for most charges. Here, the judge, in looking at it, essentially concluded that, hey, this person is dangerous. And in fact, there's allegedly a prior weapons issue in her background. And so the judge ultimately imposed a bond of $25 million cash or surety. No chance Muhammad is going to meet that. She will be in custody during the pendency of this first-degree murder case.
Yeah, you're right, because then came an even more disturbing revelation. Prosecutors disclosed in open court that Muhammad had a previous incident involving a stabbing.
And then finally, the defendant does have a prior instance of at least one that I'm aware that involved a stabbing, similar obviously to the stabbing that occurred in this case involving a knife. So given all of those factors and given the fact that this court does have authority to give no bond to defendants charged with murder, I am asking at this time for no bond in this case.
Okay, so according to outlet Detroit News, Muhammad was convicted in Virginia in March of 2022 of 1 count of unlawful injury by stabbing, wounding, or cutting without malicious intent. And at that time, she received a suspended sentence, per Detroit News, of 4 years in prison and served 1 year of probation instead. Now, Eric, given what she is accused of doing here, hindsight's 2020, but do you question that sentence? And also, how does that prior incident affect her current legal predicament?
Sure. So the judge in the prior case, of course, didn't have a crystal ball, couldn't necessarily foresee Muhammad going in and stabbing up her coworker up to 15 times. That being said, it sort of shows a pattern of conduct that includes weapons, a specific weapon, a blade that Muhammad allegedly thrust into the body of Harris, her manager. And so that's an aggravating factor. Surely the prosecution is going to look at that and say, hey, even if there was some mitigation, even if there was some prior trauma, prior substance issues, that is vastly outweighed by the danger that this person allegedly poses to the community. And I think the prosecution is going to take a real heavy-handed approach to this case.
But at trial, can they introduce that prior conviction, or is there a prior bad act that wouldn't be allowed to be too prejudicial?
That'll be ultimately up to the judge. The judge will have to weigh, hey, is this prior act relevant to some kind of trait or factor on behalf of the defendant, like state of mind, like intent, like modus operandi, like the way in which she has committed crimes before. But my guess is the judge is going to say, hey, this prior stabbing that was unrelated in an entirely different state is just too overly prejudicial. The concern is the jury would sort of hold that against her and find guilt on the new case because of that.
If she testifies, though, they can use it against her.
If she testifies, it could surely come up. Yeah. There is a reasonable likelihood that she could open the door through her testimony. If she gets up there and says, hey, look, I'm generally a peaceful person, whatever, the prosecution could say, hey, wait a sec, peaceful person. What about this prior weapons charge involving a knife from 2 to 3 years ago? So, yes, that could be a damning revelation at trial.
You mentioned this before. In the end, the judge in Detroit set Muhammad's bond at $25 million. There are strict conditions, GPS monitoring, a no contact order with the victim's family. That all makes sense. $25 million, though. Why not just issue no bond? I mean, it seems unlikely, unless you're, I don't know, Jeff Bezos, that almost anyone could make a $25 million bond. Why even set a bond that high and just say no bond?
It's kind of going through the motions of issuing a bond without really issuing a bond. When a judge issues no bond, some folks get up in arms, especially the defense community, saying, hey, the Constitution grants a right to reasonable bail. You're not even giving this person a shot. So the judge sort of sidesteps that potential criticism by saying, no, I gave a bond, but it's $25 million.
By the way, I'm not saying that the bond should be lowered. I mean, given what she's accused of doing, this is a heinous attack. I'm just wondering whether there should be no bond. Now, according to court records, talking about the legal case, Muhammad has a probable cause conference set for July 23rd, a preliminary examination on the 30th. What should we be looking out for there?
So at those proceedings, the prosecution is really going to lay out their evidence that they believe shows probable cause that Muhammad committed this allegedly horrendous act. That they will likely call witnesses, including detectives, possibly even coworkers from the McDonald's, to discuss kind of the dispute that had been building and escalating. In this case, the judge will determine whether there's probable cause to have the trial, or to make sure the charge stands and have the case proceed to trial. Based on the reports so far, it's looking pretty strong that there is probable cause here. It's a relatively low standard.
Is there anything the defense can do to try to? I mean, it doesn't seem to me they can do anything to prevent this from going forward. The evidence feels quite substantial at this stage to proceed to trial. We can have a discussion about whether or not it's strong enough to prove beyond the reasonable doubt. Probably is. But at this point, is there anything they can do to try to get this case stopped now or no?
Stopped? Probably not. Mitigated? Possibly. Defense should really engage in a strong mitigation campaign that'll likely involve a mental health examination. It'll likely involve interviewing people in Ms. Muhammad's life regarding past trauma, regarding substance issues, that kind of thing, to show a sort of a more holistic view of who Muhammad is and not just, the sort of narrow snapshot we see from this allegedly heinous act.
Is there room for a plea deal, and what would a plea look like? I mean, in the sense, if we make the argument that the evidence against her is substantial, so whether, the witness testimony or her alleged statements, what have you, her Instagram video, what have you, the physical evidence, is there room to negotiate a plea, and what would it look like given these allegations and this level of attack?
So that's going to depend in part on the prosecutor and how the prosecutor sees the case. They're typically in charge of extending a plea offer or not. Like you mentioned, there's that aggravating factor of that prior instance regarding a knife in a different state. That's going to be a problem. That being said, there's almost always some room to develop a mitigation packet on behalf of defense, submit it to the prosecutor, and say, hey, instead of dragging everybody's families through the trauma and crucible of a trial, how about we agree on something slightly lesser than what she's facing and hopefully make it out of this with some sort of satisfactory resolution.
We always talk so much about the defendant in these cases because of the legal consequences and the legal case, but let's just go back to the victim. So Harris's family is in mourning. The McDonald's remains closed. A GoFundMe has been launched by Harris's family to help support her children. And according to prosecutors, she was a mother of 6. She had worked at that McDonald's for 15 years. And part of the GoFundMe reads, through this fund, Jennifer's legacy of strength, compassion, and dedication will continue to guide and uplift her children. Resources from the trust will be used to support their educational journeys from early learning through higher education, as well as their overall well-being and personal development as they grow into adulthood. The Jennifer Harris Legacy Fund is a reflection of her lifelong commitment to family, opportunity, and the belief in a bright future. It ensures that her children are surrounded by the care, guidance, and support they need to thrive, and that her spirit will continue to shape their lives for years to come. You know, Eric, sometimes we get lost in the fact of the legal points and the legal case, that you think about the family that's left behind in such a brutal attack. And for them to make sense of this in a way, it's a start of a whole new journey. They have to grapple with this loss, and now they have to go through the legal case, which can be quite difficult for them, particularly if the defense is going to be raising certain points of defense that obviously they may not agree with, and that might be difficult for them. What should they be thinking moving forward now?
Yeah, they are going to have a long road here. I watched one of the interviews with one of the children, and she said, hey, my mom died providing for her kids, going to work every day, trying to make a better life for them. These victims' families are going to have some say in the legal process. They're going to have some input into whether there's a plea or not. Now, the defense has sort of cast Ms. Harris as a bully, and I think that there's probably going to be more of that. There's probably going to be more allegations that the alleged victim was, a heavy-handed boss and mistreated her employees, whether that's true or not. And so it's going to be painful and probably unsatisfying at the end. Nothing through the legal process will bring their mother back.
Eric Faddis, thank you so much for taking the time. Difficult case, but always appreciate your insight. Thank you so much.
It's a lot of moving parts. Let me just show some more stuff really quickly before we let me see. Let's look at this real quick.
Manager who was stabbed to death while on the job returned to the scene of the crime. This time they're honoring her life. Good evening. I'm Brandon Hudson.
And I'm Taryn Asher. It happened last week at the East Point McDonald's. Her co-worker accused of killing her, leaving the community devastated. Fox News' Camila Murray joining us now live from this vigil. And wow, we see all the people behind you. It left a lot of people just truly asking a lot of questions, Camille.
Yeah, an absolutely horrible story we've been covering since the very beginning. And yes, as you can see, a lot of people here getting ready to honor her and pay tribute to Jennifer Harris, 39 years old, single mother of 6, loved by so many, a manager here for 15 years here at this McDonald's. I want you to take a look at her picture and some video from what happened on Thursday, and let's talk about that. I'm sure many reviewers remember this happened on Thursday morning. She got into a sort of altercation with one of the employees. According to police, she sent that employee home because that employee was not doing their performed duties. This is all according to sworn testimony from a detective in court on Friday. So that employee leaves and comes back about 5 minutes later and allegedly stabs Jennifer Harris several times in the drive-through area inside. Somebody witnesses it. They are a CPL holder, and they've actually pulled up waiting for their food. They shot a gun into the air to try to stop everything, but it was too late. And then they actually held the suspect in custody at gunpoint until police were able to get there. Obviously, this is so devastating for so many people. We got a chance to talk to family members last week when this first happened. I want you to listen to some of this emotional sound from one of Jennifer Harris's oldest children. She is Antonio Griffin. Take a listen.
My mama was a good person. She was the best mom anybody could ever ask for. She woke up every day and went to work for us. My mama died trying to take care of us. She was so good to everybody. A hardworking woman. So kind. If anybody needed help, she would give you her last. Give you the shirt off her back.
So here we are. This vigil is about to start at any moment. You can hear them announcing we're going to be out here, of course, covering this entire thing and bring you the latest coming up tonight at 6. Reporting live in East Point, Camila Murray, Fox 2 News.
Camille, is the McDonald's putting this on to honor this employee? I mean, we see so many people behind her. Are they also trying to raise money for the family since this was a single mother? She had several children, and obviously they are devastated.
Yes, and the owner of this franchise is actually paying for the whole funeral and has set up a trust for the family, for the 6 children. And there's a GoFundMe as well that we'll be putting on our website, fox2detroit.com. But yeah, McDonald's is part of this vigil. They moved it inside because of the heat. There's some beautiful red and white balloons that we're going to be seeing out in the air tonight at the end of this. But again, staying inside because of the heat and just trying to accommodate everybody here. But I think it's going to be a very moving ceremony. You can see all of us have pictures of stickers that they gave us to honor Jennifer Harris. So definitely a very touching scene here.
Yeah, our hearts go out to the family, that's for sure. And we'll talk to you a little bit later at 6. Thanks, Camille, for the update.
All right, I'm just going to show you one more piece, 1 second, and then I'll speak to people and then I'll read a little bit later. Let's just check this out. This is the daughter speaking at the visual, and this woman next to her is their pastor.
For me and my family and support. My mom was good. My mom was so good. It's hard to sit right here and talk about her. This was never a thought. We never got to none of this. Never even discussed that, or what would happen when she was not here with us. I don't even know if my siblings understand what's going on. It's hard to even see them cry. I don't want to break times. I never cried for them because it hurts them. Imagine show up in our siblings, where they were not she proud of all of us. It was just scaring this day for not being angry. For still choosing peace. My mom worked fire at church the day like I said. My mom wouldn't even have been at McDonald's if it wasn't for us. She could have. My mom, like I said, she was on good breath. She left. She came back. She was tired. Yes, she was tired. And she still woke up every day. My mama left and came back, and I was the one who told her to come back to McDonald's. Because it worked out for our family, it worked out for us. And she was happy here. She was a manager. I remember when I first started working at McDonald's, my mama came to work with you, and we worked together for so long at a different church house, but it's just, all I have is all those good memories of my mama. These past couple of days, all I could think of is seeing my mama in there, doing her job, being attacked by somebody that she trusted. All I want to do is do it. That's all I have to do. My mind is and twisties going on. I don't know what to do with that.
Antonia wants to read to you a message from her father.
First, I would like to thank every American who's donated out of the kindness of their hearts to help our families in our time of need. I would like to thank God for blessing my siblings and I with a mother like ours to the best. Last but not least, I would like to say that life is short and we need to stop the hate and division in this country because it brings the worst out of us and leads to senseless acts like this. This is the United States of America, and we're supposed to be an example to the rest of the world how to treat and love like one another. Go crazy. What? It was times where I didn't even want to be here in America, in this world. I had my mama to keep me here, to stop me. I had my pastor. Oh. I'm not my mama no more. I just gotta be strong and just think, this is what my mama want me to do. This is what my mama want me to do. My mama want me to be here with my siblings. I can't just shut down. I can't turn off my phone. I can't just live my own life no more. I gotta be here for my mama to just take over. I gotta be strong for my mama. Even though I don't want to, I just want to be back with my mama. My mama wanted to live. Why? She didn't want to die. She wanted to be here with us. She wanted me to be here with us. How did you know you don't? I don't even want to be here no more. I want to be with my mama.
We're going to walk this family through. We're going to support them. We have established a trust fund for their needs, for their housing, for their day-to-day living, from the oldest to the youngest.
Very sad. I'll read later as I'll go around to the panel a little bit now. Savannah, your thoughts?
Oh, Dana, this story is so heartbreaking, and my condolences go out to those 6 children that are now left without a mother and a father, and are going to have to find strength within themselves to take care of themselves and govern accordingly how their mom would want them to take paths in this world. Every interview that I've about this story, I haven't heard any current employee or former employee talk about this manager being a tyrant or a bully, as this perpetrator has stated that she was being to her. But and on a couple of the reports that I've seen of the interviews of the current employees who are also traumatized, and my heart goes out to them because they were at work doing their job, and now these young folks are going to have to deal with the unaliving of someone that they cared for, who they all saw as a mother figure as well. And they were unable to help her. But they did state that, the person that committed this was late, and she wasn't doing her job duties as she was required to do. It was a ongoing battle with this young lady, getting her to do what she is paid to perform to do. And the manager was just managing as she was supposed to be. And she was a she's been a lifelong employee of McDonald's. She was there for about 15 years. So she's mentored and been a staple in that community for quite some time. I don't want to hear a mental health defense because this young lady has done it before. And I question why on your application you have to, write down if you've had any convictions or felonies. So did she not put this? Did they not do a background check on her before she got hired? So I think that's the only question I have on this story, because that was a serious charge that she evaded in Virginia and moved to Michigan and got back into fast food industry again. and committed a same offense. So I think that's the only question I have on this story is, did they not do a background check once you fill out that application? I thought you had to annotate on there if you had any prior convictions. So it's a heartbreaking story, and the community is broken, and 6 kids are left without a mother and a father because the father's in jail.
Yeah, it's sad. Julius, your thoughts?
My heart breaks for the babies. I felt that young ladies. Can everybody hear me?
Mm-hmm.
I felt that young lady's tears. And she didn't want to say it. And it's what made her break down. She knows the assignment of how her mama will want her to be. A trailblazer, an inspirer, a leader. Even though her mama worked at McDonald's, but like we talk about over here, it's honest work. Her mama hustled. Her mama led by example. And what really touched me was when she shared the very first time she started working at McDonald's. The smile on her mama's face. Like it's passing on a legacy, like she inspired her daughter to be better than she was, helping her get her first job. Oof, I had to really pray about how I was going to deliver my commentary. That monster who committed this crime, yes, she's a monster. She needs to be convicted already. I know innocent until proven guilty. Okay, I know that. But that video cannot be dismissed as hearsay. She said in that video, and I'm paraphrasing, but she said, karma's gonna come back at her. Karma's gonna get her. Little girl, you have so much hatred for a manager that was reprimanding you because you wasn't doing your job that you filled out the application to do. And you're 20-something years old. It's not like you're 16. You're 20-something years old, so you know better. So she's gonna reprimand you as an adult and try to steer your wrong behavior into a correct one so you could do your job more accordingly. She was managing as she should. And now those babies are without a mother because that gutter snake couldn't take a reprimand. I hope she stays behind the jail and probably ends up underneath it. Because those pictures of that young lady, all I see is a straight demon, and that's it. That's all.
Wayne, your thoughts? And Julius.
You know, I think at some point, this young girl, she was going to unalive somebody. With that much anger, she was going to alive somebody, you know, and her drama and trauma doesn't cause her to take a life of somebody else's mother. I hope she doesn't have any children herself, because she would be putting her children through the same pain that she's putting this family through. I hope justice is swift, and whatever she gets, she deserves. That's it.
Mel, your thoughts?
Yeah, I want to say rest in peace to Miss Jennifer Harris. You know, I want to say also, I'm just hoping and praying for some kind of comfort and some kind of peace of mind for her loved ones, for her family, for her children. You know, this story makes me sad, not only for her family, but, you know, for our community. Because when I look at this piece, I'm looking at 2 Black women, 2 sisters, up at McDonald's, working their hearts out. Oh, well, at least Miss Jennifer Harris was, because obviously the perpetrator, the killer, she had some difficulties. The two sisters out here, and one is now put into the grave behind a disagreement because the other person has some perceived mental issues, didn't want to work correctly, whatever it is. It's all sad. It's all sad. I mean, especially in our community. This is not something that's running rampant. When I look at them, I'm sad for that. I'm very sad that was, that they were, that happened there, that happened to these two ladies, that happened to that family. It's a whole sad situation. And to that lady, the girl who then had the issues with the work and all that kind of stuff, she didn't look remorseful to me. She didn't look remorseful. And I think that, you know what? I was angry when I was watching the story, but I'm actually sad for her too, because, one day I believe she will wake up and realize exactly the devastation that she's caused this family and herself, that her life is going to be changed for the rest of her life behind being stubborn and hard-headed. If you don't want to work at McDonald's, you didn't have to. You could have gone somewhere else if there were other opportunities in your community, or you could have stayed in school or whatever else. We all have other options. The last thing you want to do is take somebody's life behind a disagreement about money or work or something like that. So it's all sad.
Very sad. Thank you, Mel. Callie, your thoughts?
Yeah, this is an extremely sad situation. I feel very bad for that lady's kids. And one thing that I would also like to put out there, this woman was a manager of a franchise. So she probably made very decent money. And if she's in an area where there's not a lot of six-figure jobs, that's probably why she took this particular job, because that was probably the only job in her area that was going to pay that kind of money. She wasn't like a cashier at McDonald's. She was running the franchise. But anyhow, I don't think this girl is mentally sane. And I say this as a person who grew up with a sibling with mental illness who also tried to unalive me. I don't know what the answer is, but as a society, we got to figure out something to do with these people. Because this is not working. A lot of the homelessness that we have is because a lot of these people are not in their right mind, and they cannot mentally accept assistance that will stop them from being homeless. And they do sometimes attack people and unalive them. It happens here in Los Angeles all the time. Everything else that I have seen about this girl, I don't see a mentally healthy person. I see someone who may have paranoid schizophrenia. I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose her, but it's definitely something that's real wrong. And they're going to dope her up in jail and probably put her in the mental part. But just going forward in society, what do we do with these people? And we can't say, well, we just put them on assistance. Assistance doesn't pay enough. And that's why a lot of times, even if they have been diagnosed, they'll still try to go out in society and get a job and end up flipping out on the job because they need the money. They can't live on assistance. So I don't really know what this girl's background. This is my first time hearing that she had a previous charge. I know there's a rumor going around that she was friends with some guy that's now missing. And she was kind of having like a panic attack and going off about this guy hitting on her and all of this stuff that was on her Instagram. I'm not sure if it's still there. But this girl is, to me, I can clearly see that this girl has mental health issues. So I don't really know going forward. I mean, they're probably not going to let her out for a very long time. It wouldn't shock me if they don't give her life, because I actually knew of a man. I was friends with the family. He unalived his wife in infant, and they said he has mental illness, gave him 30 years. He got out and tried to unalive somebody else the minute he got out. So it's not like we can just say, well, she's never getting out. We don't have to worry about this. We don't know how this case is going to go. I feel really obviously terrible for this woman's family. I do agree that she was going to do this to somebody else eventually. I didn't know she had already done it before. I don't even know if the rumor about the man that's missing is true, but it wouldn't shock me if it is. This is just a sad situation, but I just wonder, like, what is the solution for this type of stuff? Like, so that this doesn't continue to happen to people, because there are people that are not stable. It just, you know, and a lot of them are walking around here in this city, and it's like, okay, well, what do we do with these people?
It's very sad. I don't know, but I know they're already not playing with her though. She gave a $25 million bond because she know there was no way this girl was going to be able to get out. So, but again, interesting. I hate to always tie this back to, but I just want to keep in the forefront of people's mind. This woman went and stabbed someone, and the person is no longer here. And she, even though we know she can't afford it, she got a $25 million bond. But out in the Southern District of New York, okay, Diddy couldn't get a bond, and he put up his $50 million home, XYZ, so forth and so on. So people, it's just, it's craziness. Felicia, your thoughts?
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Diva. I've got a lot of thoughts. I've been listening. I listened to every piece of the clip that you sent. I don't share the general perspective of this panel tonight, perhaps because I didn't hear enough of what was shared. But first, I want to give my condolences to her children, to her family. They loved her, and she's going to be missed. I was reading some of the chat. It's interesting when a person is in crisis, when people are in crises, and how we refer to them, or how we just say, well, you could have just went to HR. Yeah. Yeah, you could have just quit your job. You could have just did something else. I don't know this woman. I don't know what she had to endure. I don't know what she went through. But I do know something here has gone terribly bad. One of the things they talk about, but maybe not mainstream media, is workplace violence. It happens more often than any of us ever discuss on this panel, or you will see in mainstream media or in print media. But it happens, and it happens a lot. And workplace violence, as it has been defined here, can encompass a range of behaviors, including physical assault, threatening behavior, verbal abuse within the work environment. They say it's a very serious issue. And last year, there was some 1.3 million non-fatal violent crimes in the workplace reported. So Savannah brought up something which I immediately had gone to, with who's doing the hiring here and how do they hire? How do they vet people? So is it just a franchise, or is it the whole McDonald's corporation, or we're short staffed and anyone can come in here and work, and we train them as best as we can. And if they're not fitting in, if they're not able to do the work, do we give them a time limit and they move on? Or do we say, come to work today and you didn't do right yesterday, so go home again today and tomorrow? I don't know. But I've been in this American workplace for over 40 years. And it has been rare that I've worked at places where I haven't heard of a workplace violent issue. It's going to happen. But what controls are in place to keep them at a minimum? So does she come to work and there's always an argument? Is there disagreement? Based on what I've been hearing and reading, she must have disagreed with some of her other co-peers. She couldn't have just been disagreeing with her manager. And yes, she should have went to HR. I would have encouraged her to go to HR. I myself have gone to HR. I have a supervisor. Because I'm not a medical professional, I'm not allowed to refer to her as imbalance. I'm not allowed to say that there is something amiss there. But what I can say and what I have done is I have said that I needed a change in supervision because she has a retaliatory spirit. She has microaggressive behaviors towards me. And she has been very, very vocal in how unhappy she is with me. There were times when she would come around my workspace like she was Floyd Mayweather and wanted to go box me like we were in the school ground. There have been times she has followed me into other offices and gotten behind me, and I don't know what she did. She has interfered and reduced my bonus money and my merit increases based on her perception that everyone makes mistakes. So I'm going to say you've made a mistake. Well, what about my co-peers? No, I didn't put that in theirs. So I keep going to HR. And I have let HR know that I came in here as a professional and I intend to leave as one. And that she is to stop following me, popping up behind me, stomping her feet, pointing her fingers, sucking her teeth. She still works there. Clearly, they find something in her management style that they like. But I assure you, my children know, HR knows, the people I work for directly know, and she's still allowed to do what she wants to do. But I am a seasoned professional, and I am a righteous woman, and I'm not going to get caught up or caught out there. Now, Kelly made a very interesting statement about what are we going to do with these people? These people are our brothers and sisters. These are our neighbors. One of the things that they're finding in terms of studies, because I find it very interesting that this young woman is a Gen Z. Many Gen Z people have been given IEPs. An IEP is one of these independent educational plans. And very often that comes with some form of medication for a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 7-year-old. All new in the pharmaceutical area. We don't know what the downside is. We don't know what the side effects are. I looked in the face of this young woman many times. There's something there that's amiss. I don't know what she's had to deal with. What she's done is wrong. But look at the criminal justice system. They said she did XYZ, gave her a year probation and let her go on her way. They didn't demand rehab, mental health therapy, checking in. She moved out of the state. So what are we going to do with these people? We're going to love and protect these people because many of them are our children and our grandchildren. And we're going to get a little bit more active about what medications we're giving these young kids. And we're going to try to foster safe environments for them to grow up in. Because what I believe I'm seeing and experiencing is all the trauma and the hurt that used to be suppressed, because they used to be able to hold it down, no longer can be. And you have all of these behaviors going on, whether they're from the manager, because no, I don't believe that this manager was always kind and always fair. 6 children and working 15 years in McDonald's, I don't see a happy place, okay? I see a lot of stress. And I don't know if it was you, Diva, or somebody else that said the father was incarcerated. 6 children, an incarcerated possible father, and low income wage working at a McDonald's. That's a bad formula. To my young sisters in the 2nd and 3rd row, you don't want that. Because that mother probably wanted to quit that job more times than many. and stayed so she could feed her children and keep the shelter. Some of you know I was married and then I was divorced, and I had to go out there and get to work. But my number one job was to love and protect my children. So I'm really thrown here tonight because I don't hear compassion on both sides. I'm hearing don't even have a trial, don't even have a hearing. How is she going to get treatment? How is she going to get better? The correctional facility isn't going to do it. A long time ago, Wayne said on this panel, he don't believe in throwing people away, and neither do I. I'm done.
Well, I appreciate you. Thank you, Felicia. So I'll give my diva thoughts. A judge had an opportunity when she stabbed the first person to order her to some type of counseling like they did with Jonathan Majors. They said, you're not going to do any jail time, but you got to go see a counselor. If I'm not mistaken, he darn near had to go almost every day of the week. And if he needed to go do a job, he had to get permission, and they wanted him to go in person. And if he had a job he had to do, he had to get permission to do that counseling remotely. So I consider myself to be a very compassionate person. And I have worked since I was 13. I told y'all that here. They called it working papers in New York when you wanted to go work as a teenager. And I got them. And they used to have city summer jobs, but I don't want to back all the way up to that. I just want to tell you, I've been working since I'm 13, and I had all kind of bosses. Had some ones that I personally felt were horrible, mean, nasty, unfair. Been through a lot in the workplace in my 55 years. Well, y'all know I didn't work the 55 years, but y'all know what I'm trying to say. But never, no matter how a boss treated me, never, ever, ever in my life did I think in my mind, I'm going to come back and even harm that boss or unalive them. You know, when I was growing up, they said, if you don't bring no pow pow to the fight, can't nobody get hurt. Now it's a pow pow. It's a knife. Use your words. When you become an adult and you're working, you have to figure out a way to use your words. Again, when I was growing up, I really had to think in my head or speak to a friend to figure out sometimes what I need to say. Now you can simply Google. And you have a place above the supervisor, manager, whatever, where you can voice your grievance against said boss. You want to go to TikTok and document how wrong it was, and she's this and she's that, and it ain't right. Did you go to HR? You went to TikTok, Instagram, social media. They can't do nothing for you. You should have took your grievance to HR. You should have filed some complaints. And did you get permission to come on your day off to make up hours when you were sent home the other day? I'm here to give fairness where I feel fairness is due. And what needs to be done is we can't just say, we're not going to send you to jail because jail is not a rehab. Then y'all need some reform has to be done in the jail to rehab these people, because if you do the crime, you got to do the time. This woman could have been evil, but she never stabbed you. Now her 6 kids have no mother. And she was doing what she had to do She said, my mother was tired. And to your point, Felicia, the daughter did mention the mother left McDonald's. I guess she tried to do something else. And the daughter that told her to come back because they needed the money for their family. And she went back for her family. And I don't know this woman. I don't know what happened at the job. But I will say that management is not easy. Shout out to all the managers out there. Because especially when you're doing a fast food restaurant. And how you got to make sure them fries are right. And make sure this is right. And make sure everything is running smoothly. This chick was wrong. And she didn't just do one stabbing. She stabbed her 15 times. So I can acknowledge that, hey, the manager, maybe the manager wasn't the nicest manager in the world. Hey, her and the manager had issues. But am I going to excuse this girl as a stabbing? And this is her second time? I would have gave her, she snapped. But in another state, she stabbed somebody else. And it's almost like when you're raising a child, if you told them you can't go out until you clean your room. Then they come, please, I'll clean it next time. You say, okay, go ahead, go out. Then the next time they ask you again, I said you can't go out, but can I please go out? Okay, go ahead and go out. They're never going to clean the room because you set a precedent that you're going to let them do it anyway. Go and do whatever they want. So when the first judge, and I'm not blaming the first judge, he probably figured this girl is young. Let me give her a chance. Let me give her an opportunity. She blew that opportunity. And so who told her lawyer that she had this abusive dish and she know how to use her words when she want to? Because she obviously told her lawyer, I was in this abusive situation. I was in this. I had a hard life, this, that. Listen, if you talk to the psychiatrists and psychologists, they'll tell you 9 times out of 10, there's no family that didn't have something going on. I don't care if you speak to a kid that grew up, the richest kid or the poorest kid, and they all going to have some type of complaint about their childhood. Don't bring it up now, girlfriend. You knew how to turn on that phone, get on that social media, blast and go off. Anybody else before I close out?
Diva, yes. Can I speak?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I skip you?
No, I just have.
Oh, okay. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm like, did I skip you?
So everybody knows I shared my story of working at Six Flags when I was younger. But even then, despite all the discrimination that I went through, all the bullying that I went through, I wouldn't wish unaliving on the ones who was doing me wrong. Because I was raised with this simple premise. My parents installed a lot of good in me, a lot of good values. However, if I make a split-second decision that's not a good decision, that's on me. That's not on them. That's on me. And so that's why I can't really give this young lady grace, because she has a history of this behavior. If she didn't have a history, I would have been like the first judge, okay, give her a chance. She blew it. No more chances.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I'd like to say this. The first time, she should have been mandated therapy, mandated jail time, mandated probation. The first time. She wasn't given any of that.
Mm-hmm.
So in my mind, I'm thinking she did it before then too. Maybe the first time she was in Virginia, maybe she plunged the person 6 times. This time she thought she'd go for double. There was nothing but rage. Rage.
Mm.
And I'm wondering, did the manager have the ability to fire her? Just fire her and tell her, don't come back here anymore. But there's so much that can be done if you're proactive.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know what they're going to do for her. I don't know. Mercy. Be with everyone.
Yeah. I think, unfortunately, Felicia, she's done. I think she's going to get as close to a life sentence as they probably could possibly give her. It's a wrap.
And she'll be out here with no Social Security and no resources to support her. And she'll do it again if she doesn't get counseling. She's a young woman, Diva. She's a young woman.
She's a young woman, Felicia, but somebody is gone. A mother is gone.
Girl's mother is gone, and I have the deepest condolences for this family. But putting her away for 35 years and giving her no treatment, no rehab, no skills, no abilities to manage her anger, and she's out here at 60, she's coming after my great-grandchildren. People have to get rehabilitated.
They do,
and she's worthy of that.
They do, and that's a conversation that needs to be had about these jails, point blank period, anyway. So I won't disagree with that. That's a conversation that needs to be had about rehabilitation in these jails. Go ahead, Savannah.
And I was just going to say that she told the investigators that she intended to unalive her manager. That was her intent when she went and got the knife and came back. Her intention was to unalive the manager.
She did say that. Thank you for reminding me of that. She did. This is not a good thing. This is not a good thing. It's horrific. It's sad.
And the other thing I wanted to say, and I didn't say it, was her daughter talked about wanting to leave here. I hope they're getting her counseling and treatment immediately. She said it verbally. She doesn't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
So she needs immediate intensive therapy.
She's feeling the obligation to care for all her siblings.
See things
of her mothers.
We don't address them.
Yeah. The pastor was next to her. She's feeling the obligation of having to take care of her entire family, all her siblings. It was two little ones, the two girls behind her. They looked like twins to me. That's a huge responsibility. And she even said it. She was crying out for help. Go ahead.
Yeah. And where was McDonald's?
No, McDonald's is paying for the funeral. McDonald's started a whole trust fund for these kids. McDonald's is doing a lot. McDonald's is doing a lot.
That is correct.
Well,
that was the first thing I investigated about this story. Was this a franchise? And because of the manager being an employee for such a long time, but Miss McDonald's has stepped up and is doing for the family. But
but it's only because they can be sued. This woman, this happened to her at work while she was working there by one of their employees. So they can sue the pants off of this company.
Again, it goes down to who vetted this employee when she applied. Because she had a previous.
I think they're still liable. Yeah, it's their company.
Yeah. But that I didn't even think about that piece of it, the suing piece, which is all correct. It's still sad and traumatizing, though. This was so sad when her daughter spoke, heart-wrenching. And Felicia Ford, a lot of people are saying that we don't we haven't I haven't been able to confirm that yet. That would be the nail in the coffin though for her. If this is true, but I haven't been able to. I've been looking to try to confirm that, and I haven't been able to confirm that piece. But I did hear that from many people and when I was looking, but I couldn't pull a story on it, like a news article or anything like that. And yes, they are liable. It's just super sad, but I will say up in real time, they did step up. They're paying for the funeral. They started the trust fund for these kids. And I don't even know how they're going to be able to, unless like somebody get them a house that's already paid for. I don't know. It's just super sad. But the oldest, I could tell she's feeling the heat and overwhelmed already, because she said, I can no longer live my life. So she's a teenager, was just probably having fun, living her life. And in the blink of an eye, she now has to step up and be mom to her siblings. And the pastor was there. I don't know what the answer is to help this family either. Because it's not just about money. It's and the dad is in jail. Ay. And from what it sounds like, I'm taking it as the dad ain't gonna be out no time soon. I'm about to close out unless somebody else has anything to say. I don't know, Wayne, did you get to speak?
Yeah, I did.
All right. Listen, guys, I will stay connected to this story. I don't anticipate that this girl is going to get out. I don't think this is going to go well for her, especially if they're able to bring up her prior history. This is heavy. I don't think if they could bring up her prior history, I think it might be a wrap for her. And the judge already, you could tell, is not playing, because a $25 million bond, that's just like saying you ain't getting no bond when you're someone of her caliber that don't have the money like that. But listen, guys, chat with me in the comments. When I get opportunity, I will chat back. If you have any updates on this story, let me know in the comment section. I will stay connected with it to see, what's going on. It's so much stuff going on in the world today. And I want to step back 1 minute, Callie, to address your comment. The mental illness is real. Because there was another story, but I knew this story was going to take up a lot of our time, where a father claimed that, I think the girl was only 7 or 9. He claimed that somebody kidnapped the daughter. These people with the lies and the kidnapping. And they put out an Amber Alert, but they knew that what the dad was saying was not adding up. They found the girl and she's not alive. And of course, the father is suspect number 1. Found the girl, not alive. Only 7 or 9. And I just said, good gosh almighty, what is going on in the world today, where you come in as a young child, you can't even live your life, and the people that's supposed to love you, your parents are your first predators. Now that's a lot. We try to teach our children stranger danger, but what happens when the danger is your parents? Lot to talk about. Thanks for being here, guys. Hit the like button. If you didn't hit it on the way in, hit it on the way out. Good night and goodbye, everybody. Choo choo.
Choo choo.
Choo choo.